Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report's live election night coverage. I'm Crawford Humphreys.
And I'm Faith Isbell.
We're going to begin with one important local race with final results. Let's look at the Lexington City Council, where 4 candidates competed for 3 seats on the council. The 2 incumbents are returning to the council, and newcomer Dennis Ayers will join them. Let's look at the numbers. As you can see, Dennis Ayers controlling 25% of the vote, David Sigler, the incumbent, with 27%, Chuck Smith, the other incumbent, with 24%, and Molly McClure coming in 4th with 20%.
Now let's go to the top of the ticket. Democratic incumbent Tim Kaine has a significant lead with more than a quarter of the precincts reporting. Now check out how the candidates are doing in Lexington. Oh, here we have, I see 70% of the precincts. Here we are in Lexington with 100% of the precincts reporting for the Senate race. We have Democratic incumbent Tim Kaine with 71% of the vote, followed by Republican Corey Stewart at about 27% of the vote. Lastly, with Libertarian Matt Waters at about 2% of the vote. And here's how Buena Vista voted in the U.S. Senate race. We have Republican Corey Stewart at about 60% of the vote, followed by Democratic incumbent Tim Kaine with 38% of the vote. Now we'll look at Rockbridge County with 83% of the precincts reporting. We have Republican Corey Stewart in the lead with 62% of the vote, followed by Democratic incumbent Tim Kaine at about 37% of the vote.
Now let's look at the 6th Congressional District. Incumbent Bod Goodlatte is retiring, and his former Chief of Staff, Ben Klein, hopes to replace him. Let's look at the numbers. Right now, with about 40% of the precincts reporting, Ben Klein, the Republican, with the lead over Jennifer Lewis, the Democrat, 56% to 43%. Now let's see how Lexington voted in the 6th District. 100% of the precincts are reporting in Lexington. Jennifer Lewis, the Democrat, with the lead over Ben Klein, 67% to 32%. And here's how the 6th District is shaping up in Buena Vista. 100% of the precincts reporting here as well. Ben Klein, the Republican, with the lead here, 67% to 32%. For Rockbridge County, the numbers are shaping up this way in the 6th Congressional District race. 100% of the precincts reporting 64, nearly 65 actually, percent going to Ben Klein, the Republican, 35 going to Lewis, the Democrat. There were 2 lesser-known items on the ballot this fall, both constitutional amendments. The first would give a tax break to property owners who make improvements in a flood zone. Right now, Yay is in the lead for that proposition, 70% to 30%. Here's the second. The second one is tax exemption for surviving military spouses. Yay is also in the lead here, 57% of precincts reporting, 84% to 15%.
Bryn McCarthy joins us live from the Democratic headquarters in Lexington, where the local Democrats are hosting their election night festivities. While nonpartisan, both parties are keeping a close eye on the Lexington City Council race. Bryn is joined by a special guest at the Democratic headquarters. How is it looking out there, Bryn?
Thanks, Faith. We're here tonight in Lexington, Virginia, as the 2018 midterm election results are slowly coming in. Tonight, we're joined by 3 of Lexington's newest city council members, Dennis Ayers, Chuck Sigler, David Sigler, and Chuck Smith. Guys, how are you feeling about your big win tonight?
I'm feeling great. I've loved spending this campaign with these guys, and it was we all got along really well, and I feel very strongly that we're going to work well together for our city.
How are you feeling tonight?
I'm thrilled. It was a long day. It was a long campaign. There were 4 great candidates. Molly McClure ran a great campaign, but Chuck, Dennis, and myself, our job is now to represent the citizens of Lexington, and we'll join Leslie, Marilyn, Michelle, and then the Mayor Frank serving Lexington. So I'm thrilled.
This will be my 3rd term on City Council. It's seen a lot of growth in the last 8 years, and just want to keep that project going with a lot of the opportunities that we have to offer here. I want to make sure that Lexington's on the radar for anybody who wants to move here, live here, raise a family here, retire here, whatever. We want Lexington to be the place to come.
Perfect. So you guys have a term ahead of you. Do you have any main goals for this upcoming term on the Lexington City Council?
Well, I'm a freshman. I just got elected. These guys are incumbents. So for me, the first thing is to learn as much as I can to make sure that I hit the ground running and that I can serve my city as ably as I can. So for me, it's to learn as much as I can from my colleagues on City Council.
Great. David?
You know, bottom line, I think we need to keep making the forward progress that we're taking. 4 years ago when I ran, I said I wanted to focus on infrastructure, and we have focused on infrastructure. It might be painful, it might be dusty, and we all don't like going around detours, but we must replace our 100-year-old pipes. We have to do that, and we're going to do it. Beyond that, I'm focused on economic development. We have a small tax base here in Lexington. We need businesses to come here. They need to know that they're welcome, so that's what I'm going to focus on.
Kind of everything David just said about infrastructure and education, those are the things that help build the foundation for economic development. Those are the things that help people want to decide to come here. So,
Thank you all for being here with us tonight, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bryn. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, more results from towns around Rockbridge County. And later, hear from two political analysts from opposite sides of the aisle. All that and more coming up on the Rockbridge Report. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. We continue to look at the local races across the region. Let's take a look at the Glasgow Town Council race, the only competitive race in Rockbridge County. So for Goshen Town Council, with 100% of the precincts reporting, all right, moving on. Now let's take a peek at the other races across the region, all uncontested. We have 100% of precincts reporting for Buena Vista City Council, with Staniel Coffey at 96% of the votes, followed by a write-in at 4% of the votes. Now we're looking at the race for mayor in Goshen, with 100% of the precincts reporting. We have 100% of the votes for Thomas McCraw. Now looking at Goshen Town Council, with 100% of the precincts reporting, we have 100% of votes for Shirley Rohrer. And moving on to Rockbridge County School Board in Walkers Creek, we have 40% of the precincts reporting, with about 98% of the votes towards Neil Whitmore and 2% of the vote going towards a write-in. We are joined here tonight by two political analysts, one from each side of the aisle. Morgan Maloney is the president of the College Democrats at Washington and Lee, and Nathan Richendaler, a Republican. So how are you feeling so far this evening?
I suppose I'll take it first, being of the incumbent party that's holding the House. A little bit trepidatious, a lot of close races all around the country right now. We have the Kentucky 6 that was on a knife's edge when we came into the studio. We have a few districts in Virginia that are extraordinarily close. The opposing party always gains seats. What remains to be seen is how big that gain is going to be tonight.
Mm-hmm. And how are you feeling, Morgan?
I'm feeling this is a really exciting night to see Democrats. We're looking at some great numbers coming in. Of course, it's really early in the evening. It's hard to tell for sure what's going to be happening as the night goes on, but so far it's looking really great for Democrats.
So what has been surprising you guys so far?
For me, my personal, where I'm from is Virginia 10th. It was really exciting to see a Democrat beat the incumbent there. So Jennifer Wexton just took the Virginia 10th.
I would say the extent to which there seem to be divergences from what you'd expect state by state. For instance, the Virginia 10th going 20 points more Democrat than it did in 2016, yet a lot of the counties in Florida right now, or at least when we came into the studio, were mirroring very close the 2016 presidential election in Florida, and how there just seemed to be kind of these regional differences in the change from 2016. That's surprising me at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And besides the Virginia 10th, what other races do you think we should be following right now?
Well, I'm really passionate about the Georgia gubernatorial election right now. We're seeing Stacey Abrams, a really strong Democratic candidate, running, and we're really great to see the first African-American female governor in the country's history.
Mm-hmm.
I would be watching specifically in the state of Virginia the 5th, 7th, and 2nd districts now that the 10th has been called. 2 of them are in the Piedmont, just directly across the mountains from us, and the 3rd is on the shore. So Virginia is a battleground tonight from the shore all the way up to the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Mm-hmm. What are you guys hearing about turnout in the state of Virginia so far?
Looks like turnout's been amazing. It's you know, I don't know exactly what all the numbers are, but it's been looking really good. It's been exciting to see so many young people getting out and voting.
Mm-hmm.
The same over here. I think that's pretty consistent on both sides, that this year is carrying a lot of a lot of passion with it, a lot of high turnout.
And so far with the results that we have, do you feel that this year is proving to be the year of the woman?
Well, I certainly hope it is. The results we've seen so far have been looking really good, but of course we're early in the evening, so it's hard to tell for sure.
It's hard to say because we still have the western 3/4 of the country to come in, but we'll see.
Well, thank you both. We appreciate it. The Rockbridge Report's Gus Cross went to the Republican headquarters here in Lexington.
Hi, I'm Gus, and I'm here back at Salerno's, and I'm here with Vice Chair of the Lexington Republicans, Mary Harvey Halseth. Mary, how have things gone today?
It was a very interesting day. Thanks for asking. I was at the polls as a poll watcher from 5:30 this morning until 7 p.m., so I'm a little tired, but it's always exciting to be in this kind of environment where people are coming in and they're exercising their civic duty.
And how are you and other Republicans feeling about the election so far?
We're very, very hopeful that it'll turn to what we wanted in Virginia and in the 6th District especially. Of course, Lexington is primarily Democratic, and it has been historically, so seeing the numbers that came through this evening didn't surprise me. They were not exactly what I like, but that's what it is. So I now am looking at the rest of the 6th District to see what comes in from all the way down from Roanoke up to Shenandoah. So.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be back later tonight with more updates on the election.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, how some people are celebrating their right to vote this election day.
And a live look back at the Democratic headquarters in Lexington.
A champion of the women's suffrage movement is being honored this election day. After casting their ballots, voters placed I voted stickers on Susan B. Anthony's gravestone in upstate New York. 146 years ago today, she was charged and fined for voting in the presidential election on November 5, 1872. It took nearly a half a century for the efforts of the suffrage movement to finally lead to the passage of the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. A similar sticker tribute took place during the 2016 presidential election.
Let's take a look at the Glasgow Town Council race, the only competitive race in Rockbridge County. 100% of the precincts are reporting, and it is a pick 3 race. Aaron Britton with 22%, Barrett McFadden 23% of the vote, James Sonny Williams, the incumbent, with 33% of the vote. They three have secured their seats, and Andy Ryan with 21% of the vote.
Donald Lecomte joins us live from the Democratic headquarters in Lexington. Donald, what's the mood like over there?
We're back here at the Democratic headquarters at what has turned out to be a victory party here tonight. A lot of excitement in the room, a lot of energy. I'm here with Christian Worth. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the results you're seeing across the state and really the efforts it took to make that happen?
I think what we're seeing is the result of a lot of hard work by a lot of people. In fact, just here in our Lex Rock Democratic headquarters, we set a record for the number of volunteers on Saturday morning. We were one of the few offices that sent out our canvas packets for a third time. We've worked so hard here. We've been making calls across the state today, and I think we're seeing all that hard work pay off. We're very excited for the Blue Wave.
Absolutely seems like it. Back to you.
Thanks, Donald. Join us back on Channel 18 at 10 tonight for more local election coverage.
Until then, check us out on our website at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu for election coverage and up-to-the-minute results. Thanks for watching, and we will see you at 10 o'clock.